when you schedule a webinar, schedule another hour within 24 hours to make sure that you look at how you can implement it, or actually how to implement what you've learned into your working practices, and make sure that you apply at least one thing to your working
Yeah.
practices. So that's how you sort of close a loop, instead of just consuming webinar after webinar after webinar, or whether it's a program or online or in person, it doesn't actually matter. But schedule time in your calendar
Yeah.
to apply what you've learned.
Appointments with yourself are really important. And I mean, the other thing that you're doing when you're doing that is something that is massively, I could work on, and that's thinking time. You're spending time. It's not a task. You scheduled half an hour in your diary to think about the training. You've just got that time. You're going to go through your notes. You're going to work out what of this is a waste of time and useless, and what are the things that I'm going to implement, and what are the sparkly shiny things that I'm going to leave well behind. But yeah, and throughout the sort of tips of how to close those loops, there's quite a lot, you hear quite a lot of thinking time, but different ways of thinking for different reasons.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
recognizing that some of it is not procrastination, some of it is actual. Yeah, I think that is so hard when you're running your own business and you are kind of forced to do everything anyway.
Yeah.
To understand that the thinking time is just as important as all the doing time, because just staring at your screen all the time is not
Yeah.
going to move the needle forward every day.
I'm working from home at the moment, and my wife says to me, "Why aren't you in the office working?" Because she sees me wandering around the house, or lazing on the sofa, or even laying on the double bed. And yes, sometimes my eyes do close, but some of that time, when you're prepping material, you're thinking through strategies. You do want to just have that thinking time, that time out time, that meeting with yourself, as long as you focus it, because then there's lots of other shiny things that can get in the way of the thinking. So, and that might be one of these, or it might be a 6-year-old, or it might be whatever, but it's just protecting that time to do that thinking. Yeah.
From your coaching experience, how do you find that people, how do they translate what they've learned into actual consistent action?
Well, I mean, doing what you said, but also I think accountability is really important. So with presenters, radio presenters that I've worked with over the years, they will say, yeah, we want to start this new feature. We want to do this. They've gone to some training, or they've had an idea. They want to action something. And I think accountability just really helps. Whether you're telling the listeners that you're going to launch this in 2 weeks, or whether you're telling the boss you're going to launch this in 2 weeks, or whether you're just putting it on a calendar somewhere to say we're going to launch this in 2 weeks, that is something that will help close the loop. Because the actions from the trainings or whatever, you don't need to do them all straight away, obviously, but you want to capture them and put them somewhere. And so, we would end up with a breakfast show, planned for the 12 months really. And we'd gradually populate the plan, and we would make sure we had enough, production time and prep time to get the features away, or the things that we wanted to do done. So yeah, but accountability, I hired a consultant who helps me with my coaching course a bit extra, because I know that I will feel stupid if I have my bi-weekly call with him, and I'm sort of lagging behind or not got things done, because I find shame sort of motivates me.
Yes,
so if I tell my wife I'm going to launch on this date, or I'm telling my consultant, okay, I'll do these 2 things or 3 things by next time, you feel stupid. So accountability to other people will really, really help close. It's one way of helping to close those loops.